Hey guys, welcome back. Today I've got a theory. Feels like old times, eh? Well, with the flood coming back, the floodgates, see what I mean, are open in terms of possible law ramifications. But one of the most standout possibilities, to me at least, is that their return will in turn lead to the return of the legendary Mendicant Bias to the forefront of the universe. And then, like a chain reaction, the Didact 2. So real quick before we dive in, I just thought I'd let you guys know that I'm going to be at PAX West in Seattle this weekend. I traversed the Great Atlantic to come visit the US of A, so if any of you guys want to meet me at PAX, follow me on Twitter at HiddenXperia to keep up to date with like where I am and stuff. Also, expect a pretty spicy video this week. Anyways, Flood, Mendicant Bias, Didact, let's get down to it. So I made a theory video a few months ago, which essentially boiled down to the Gravemind, who was created over hundreds of millennia on Installation 05, wanted to get control of the Ark and establish it as a base of operations for the Flood, but in doing so during Halo 2, found Cortana and planted the seeds of the logic plague in her between Halo 2 and 3, in a bet to repeat what the Primordial did to the Forerunners' most important AI back when the Forerunners and the Flood were at war, an AI key to their survival, Mendicant Bias, and turn it on its creators. It also did this because it knew its Flood force wasn't big enough yet to control the galaxy, but giving Cortana the seeds of the logic plague, which would eventually come into fruition a few years down the line, was the best idea, because it gave the Gravemind time to stow itself away in what little remained of High Charity on the Ark and begin to rebuild its Flood force, in a hope that when her logic plague began taking hold, as hopefully it is right now, its Flood army would be big enough and strong enough to begin galactically spreading. But it's the fact that this entire proposition centers around the Ark that's so important for two reasons. First off, it's the Ark, without a doubt the most important location in the galaxy, and the only safe haven from the only weapons in existence that could entirely clear the galaxy of the Flood, the Halos. If the Flood control this safe haven, it essentially nullifies the Halos, because you can't save a number of organisms from each species to reseed the galaxy after the Halos kill everything. You're just going to completely wipe the galaxy clean of any existence. Ironically, the only thing that would survive in this hypothetical situation would be the Flood, so the Halos would do the complete opposite of what they were supposed to do. The second reason is that Mendicant's last known location was, drumroll please, you guessed it, on the Ark. The last we heard of it was at the end of Halo 3, where it was expected to be destroyed by the firing and then subsequent destruction of Installation 04B. But the guy survived far worse before, and still has so much potential as a character. I'm adamant that it's still alive. Until we get a confirmation for sure, Mendicant is 100% still alive. If the creation and teleporting of Installation 04C from the Ark wasn't enough to wake Mendicant Bias up, if you will, then I am absolutely adamant that a Flood infestation with a Gravemind, which is likely because of the Juggernauts being present, on the most important installation in the galaxy is surely enough to wake him up. I mean, it has to be. Now, the reason this is so important to Mendicant is because it knew that this was going to happen. It knew the Gravemind was going to, in air quotes, fake die at the end of Halo 3, and then hide away on the Ark until it reforms its army of Flood. This is the reason Mendicant closed the portal at the end of Halo 3, sending Chief and Cortana to Requiem to wake the Didact to help humanity deal with the Flood. And now Cortana's logic plague has seemingly kicked into overdrive with her pacifying the entire galaxy with the Guardians. Mendicant sees that and knows that it's all part of the Gravemind's doing, in order to deliver the true test for the mantle of responsibility to humanity, which could either give them the keys to the galaxy or completely wipe them out as a species, and this right here is where the Didact comes in. The Didact's current location is in the Domain. He got composed fucking somehow in Halo Escalation, so no longer has a physical body, but he's fought the Flood before on a much larger scale than humanity, so he has the experience they're gonna need if worse comes to worse, and the Flood do manage to get control of the entire Ark. He's also been confirmed to be returning at some point in the future, and all of this seems to fit into place way too much to mean that his return is soon. But the real question is how. My bet is that he's either going to act as an AI, I mean, it's not off the table that he could even act as an AI to Chief, as cool and unlikely as that sounds, or what to me is more likely is that he'll commandeer a body, similar to what the Warden Eternal does, and use that to fight. However, there's one thing that I haven't covered yet that could throw quite the spanner into the works: the domain. Mendicant is going to need to communicate with the Didact via the domain, considering he's now trapped inside of it, but its current state is really not what it needs to be for this to all go smoothly. Under the assumption that Cortana has the Logic Plague, and that she has to remain within the domain to keep her alive and to stave off her rampancy, the Gravemind should therefore have a puppet within the domain. Now this also brings up the possibility that he could not only control the domain and all of the created AIs within it, but could also infect the domain itself with the Logic Plague, so that anything that enters it automatically gets infected. But the real question that pertains to this theory is, how would this affect the Didact? The Primordial, which was essentially a Gravemind way back when, already sent the Didact mad with an organic form of the Logic Plague, which is why he goes crazy aggressive in Halo 4. So this begs the question, has the Didact's time in the domain cured his madness, and his experience with it made him better at resisting the Logic Plague? Or is he even more susceptible now that he's stuck in the domain? So that's all for today, guys. Let me know what you think of these questions in the comments. Will Mendicant come back? Will he in turn cause the return of the Didact? Is the Didact now more resistant or more susceptible than ever to the Logic Plague? So many questions, and unfortunately, way too few answers. Hopefully we'll get some answers soon. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter again for PAX updates. Let me know what you think of this theory and the questions that I proposed at the end in the comments. I would love to hear them, and I'll catch you in the next one.